Yeah, I got a 1-3 from Boston Billiards.
1-3 no limit, Boston Billiards. I keep saying that I have not been to Boston Billiards, which is in what, Nashua, New Hampshire. And the interesting thing about the sort of northeast poker scene, and I'm talking about recently since Encore opened, is that Encore took all the games, right, from New Hampshire, but
Yeah,
now New Hampshire is live free or die, so they're open, and I don't even know if Encore is going to reopen. Supposedly, like, they have put slot machines in their poker room or something like that.
yeah,
And
they definitely they did. I know
yeah,
a couple of people that deal blackjack there, and yeah, they dumped a bunch of slot machines in there.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if that means
So,
that they're not planning on coming back, but I guess we'll see. So, what's the structure here? 1-3 Boston Billiards.
so it is a 500 max.
Okay.
I think it's either 200 or 300 minimum.
Okay.
Um,
So 500 max.
so yeah, the for the hand, I'm not 100% sure about the main. Some of the other players, but the main villain was like about 750. So he was the effective stack.
Wait a minute. Did you have him covered?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
No, if you were gonna say he had 750 and you only had 400 and you used the effective stack, I was gonna throw my headphones away. But
No, I
okay,
know. I
okay,
heard you making the joke about it the other day. No, I know.
okay. All
Yeah,
right. Main
yeah.
villain effect 750 effective hero covers. Okay.
All right. So the cutoff in this hand opened. I was in the small blind. The cutoff opened to 12. The button called, and then I three bet to 60 with ace of diamonds, ace of clubs.
Okay.
Thinking I should have gone a little bit bigger, honestly. But anyways, the big blind cold called, and then the cutoff and the button both call.
So which one's the main villain?
The main villain is on the button.
Okay, so a shorter stack guy opens for 12. The button calls. You three bet.
I think everyone's actually pretty deep. This was my first, literally my first hand. I was at a different table and just moved. So, but everyone was pretty deep.
Okay. But I mean, I
But
mean,
anyways,
yeah,
yeah.
so 750. By the way, can you move? Do they let you move? So if you're in this is something that they would never let you do in LA, but it's different in different places. If you are playing in a 500 cap game at Boston Billiards and you move tables, say you went up, say you won and you're like at 1,000, can you move that? Can you move your stack over to the new table, or do they make you chip down?
Oh yeah. I do that all the time.
Oh, okay,
If I don't
that's cool.
if I don't like the yeah if I don't like the table that I'm at,
See,
no one ever says anything.
in LA, they only let you do that in a must move because they treat it like a new game. But okay, so cut off to 12. Button, who's going to be the primary villain at 750 calls. You three bet to 60, which is 4x plus the raise. I have no problem with that. And then the big
Yeah.
blind cold calls, cutoff calls, and then the button double flats, quote unquote, which means flats and flats. And
Yeah.
now you're at 240 four ways with aces and a three bet pot, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So the flop was 5 of clubs, 6 of spades, 6 of hearts.
Okay. And you've got ace of diamonds, ace of clubs.
Yep.
Okay.
I wasn't thrilled about it, but I still think I can get some value. So I've been trying to do, in multi-way pots, like a little bit of a smaller
Mm-hmm.
bet sizing.
Sure.
So I went for 80. I don't think that if that's good, but
I think
went
that's
for 80.
fine. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, when you hit one of these boards like this, it's just really hard for somebody to have anything here. I mean, I think you start to get into larger boards when, even if it was like Queen Deuce Deuce or something where they would have some Broadway cards like in their ranges. But on
Okay.
boards like this, I think it's pretty. I think that that's good. And then
Okay.
you might
Cool.
even get a spaz raise in here from somebody
All right.
like, and you could even get away with even sometimes going smaller. But okay, so you bet 80, which is about 1/3 the size of the pot.
Yep. And everyone folded except for the button.
All right, so fold to button who calls. This is the guy who just initially called the cutoff raise. So not really like a super strong range, and it's not like he's trapping because he would have back raised. I think that's another key thing here, right?
Yeah,
Like if he
definitely.
like flatted with
Yeah.
aces or kings, he's going to back raise when you 3-bet and this other guy cold calls, right? So it's not really
Yeah,
a trapping hand.
I also thought with so many people, well, now he's gone, but I also thought with at that point, with me raising with so many people in there and then betting out, I figured if he had like a 6 or 5s or something that he was going to raise. I mean, so I actually at this point didn't think his hand was that strong. I was putting him
Well, yeah,
on
but
some, like, medium pocket pairs.
But you bet and the other two guys folded though, right?
Yeah, but what I mean is like I just figured that it was kind of clear that I had a pretty strong hand, so I betting into 4 people on the flop. So I figured if he had like a 6 or pocket 5s that he would raise it. I mean, I guess he could just call, but
I'm just saying that he's closing the action. I mean, you see a lot of live players, slow play, but anyways, you bet 80, call.
Yeah.
His pot's 400.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the turn was the 2 of diamonds.
Okay.
And then, so yeah, I was still trying to target like.
It looks like a pair to me, like 7s, 8s, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
It could be like ace 5.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he could have a draw too, like a 7-8. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily even be. I mean, and then if he has like deuce deuce or 5-5, you're beat anyways. Or if you had a 6, you're beat anyways. But his range. This is an interesting one because his range is kind of weakish. Of the hands
that's what I thought.
Of the hands that you beat, like probably like he should have like the best hand he should have in terms of overpairs here really would be like. I mean, I've seen guys like flat 10s in this spot, but a lot of those hands really should be 3-bet off. So you don't want to get in these situations. You have to understand like, well, what am I trying to target here? And then depending on what the run out is, right? Like this is not a 4-bet pot where you're like, I'm just going to get it. I'm getting in mounds and mounds of money. I'm going to cooler queens or kings, right? I mean, he shouldn't really have those hands here.
Yeah, I do. I will say that I've noticed quite a few people in this player pool like flat with jacks, which I know is
button
odd.
versus cutoff.
I don't even think they're
weak.
Thinking in positions like that at all. Honestly, not everybody, but there's quite a few players there that are totally clueless, like positionally clueless, and so I definitely think. I wouldn't give them like every combo of it, but it wouldn't have surprised me to see it.
I would probably bet 150 to 200. I mean, what I was trying to say is like I could sort of go back and say sometimes if he for some reason was wild, you could even occasionally check. It's not even for pot control. It's just to let him stab, or you're going to get only 2 streets. So if it goes check, check, then you just blast the river. But in general, I would just go straight forward in these spots, maybe 150.
Okay, so I bet 200.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I was going for any of the pocket pairs up to jacks, I guess, but,
and he calls?
He called. Yep.
So the pot's 800 now, and it looks like you have maybe 400 left. So you have half a pot size bet left, right?
Yeah. And the river was the 8 of clubs.
The 8 of clubs. I was trying to think of like what kind of rivers would I want to see here. Obviously, like it would be nice if there was a 6 at the end.
Yeah.
Or a deuce. Yeah. You know what I mean? A 6 or definitely. A deuce. Those would be nice. An 8. I mean, now you lose to 8s. And 7, 8 pairs, if those hands continued on. It doesn't look like there was any type of backdoor diamond draw here. You only have half a pot size bet left, so it's kind of an awkward spot here.
My whole thinking was that I still thought that there was a good amount of hands for that I could get value from. So I didn't want it to check through.
Well, yeah, no, I get that. I mean, what's awkward here is that, maybe the right sizing is like 200, but if he jams for like all in for 400, I mean, are you going to fold? I mean, it's going to be like, yeah. I mean, if you bet 200 and he jams for 400 total, the pot's going to be 1,400, 200 for you to call. It's just really, really hard to fold given those pot odds. Now, if you were deeper, right, like if you had over a pot size bet, maybe the sizing is still the same and you might consider bet folding. But I wouldn't want to jam here and have 400. I feel like is a big bet, even though it's only half the size of the pot. We always talk about that in live poker, like the absolute value size of the bet. They probably don't. I mean, that's a big pot. So you don't want to scare somebody away, you know?
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I went all in.
Okay.
And, I don't know. That I was just trying to see if it was too thin. Like, I know it's a big bet for this game, but I don't know. I just had a half pot size bet in my mind. I
mean, I
know what you're saying.
I can't really speak. I mean, I can't really speak for the level of competition. I mean, if a guy's going to call with 7-8, if he's going to call with pocket sevens, if he's going to call with pocket nines, then it's not too thin.
No, I'm not.
You know.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends. Unfortunately, I didn't really know him too well, and I had just sat down, so I wasn't 100% sure. But
so, and then what ended up happening? Did you lose? Was he slow playing something?
No, he snap called. He had 3-4 offsuit.
3-4 offsuit.
Yeah.
3-4 offsuit. 4 straight.
But I mean, my whole thinking is like, I'm not worried about losing the hand. I don't really care. I'm just more like, you know, if he's got 3-4 offsuit, he's going to have a bunch of junk. So I'm assuming
I think
it's probably not too thin then, right?
I think one of the things that you can take away from this hand is that the nature of the double flat configuration where, and this is why the double flat, like it's really, really easy to bluff guys in that spot and I'm talking about the double flat, which is somebody just calls a bet and then calls your 3-bet, right? And the other guy gets out of the way. They don't really know that they're actually supposed to defend more because maybe top pair is like the best hand that they're ever going to arrive with. They have no concept of that at the end. So you can just, you know, endlessly barrel them off. But on the flip side, though, their range is weakish. So you have to look at how the board sort of connects with the weakish range and what are you going to get paid off by here. So like I said, I'm actually much more concerned with this run out with aces versus a double flat as opposed to just even like an open and a 3-bet and a call, right? Like, I mean, if this guy opened from the under the gun and you 3-bet out of the blind and he called, yeah, of course I'm going to go bet, right?
Okay.
But this is, you know, this is a double flat.
That was actually my other question. Because I've actually been running into a lot. I've been running kind of bad lately, and a lot of the pots have been sort of like this, where I'll 3-bet with like aces or kings, and then I kind of barrel off for like 3 streets. It's all low cards, and then like I just keep getting shown sets. Like, so I'm just trying to make sure that I felt like if in this pot I wasn't going. I know it's kind of a different situation, but yeah, I just want to make sure I'm not going too thin in some of the spots.
I don't think it's, I mean, a case could be made that it might be a little bit thin, but I just don't know. You're kind of handcuffed by, I feel like, the stack size a little bit here.
Yeah, well, this was because of, the like multi-way, like how big the pot got. I think it was a little different too.
Sure.
But,
I mean, that's the other, you know, like I said, I don't envy people that play in these cap games in extreme multi-way scenarios where, you know, you're just dealing with very, very small, you know, SPRs. But I appreciate the call. If you like what you've seen here, please hit the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this call in hand, hit the like button down below. To check out crushlivepoker.com, click on the link in the description. Use the code YTA300 to get the first 30 days for free.